All right, UFC 257, better known as Dustin versus Conor Part 2. I think that's the fight everyone is excited to see, although we do have Dan Hooker versus Michael Chandler as a nice co-main event. I think first thing is first, I'm the talented Mr. Taco here at the Daily Sporting. We got Electric, or Vegas Dave, as we like to call him, over here for UFC coverage. Now, Dave, what are you thinking about on these two fights, this co-main and main event? Well, let's
I
break it down
mean,
first with a little Connor and Dustin action.
here's what I'm gonna say. That yeah, I mean, starting it right off the top with the main event, truly for me, I'm excited. It's the first fight of the year, and to start it off with Connor being back, I think to me that's explosive.
Mhm.
UFC doesn't fail to deliver when it comes down to pay-per-views. They got the top prize fighter in UFC to come back and go out there and fight a contender, one of the top guys in the division. Not any guy, Dustin Poirier, number one. He's been proven to come out there and show what he's got and beat top guys. You
Mhm.
know, so if you ask me, I think Conor McGregor is coming back in a tremendous fight. Somebody that yes, he beat fairly quickly. I do think that he's going to get out of there really quickly as well. I know Vegas. We were talking about this actually earlier. Vegas has the 2.5 under -185, at least on the William Hill books, and it has I believe it's plus one. Let me see here, plus 165 on the over 2.5. And then they also have Dustin as the underdog plus 260, and then Connor minus 320. I like those lines, to be honest with you. I think that really where my money would be is on the on Connor and the under,
Mhm.
both the favorite for Vegas and William Hill.
Mhm.
And I really think that Dustin, although he's definitely stepped up in competition and he's definitely become a great fighter since that fight. I really enjoyed seeing the press conference because Connor in the past had been just such a trash talking fighter, right? But
Mhm.
he's kind of like evolved to just being able to be really a guy that pays respect and homage to the fighters that are doing great in the division and who are of course, he believes he's in a league of his own. I do think that as well, but I wouldn't call him the GOAT or anything like that. But I would call him one of the top fighters in the division. So for me, I like Connor. I like the under on the 2.5.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed the press conference. I really loved the positivity around that. We kind of spoke on that, me and you talk a little bit. But for me, I like that Connor. I really enjoy the kind of that's crazy controversial, but the positive one and the hey, I respect you guys. Let's go out there and put on a great show. Um, I think he should just let his fist do the talking like he normally does, and it'll just be as explosive as it always has been. But what do you think, Taco?
Sure, sure, and I definitely think that Connor, like he's been saying, he's really taken this fight camp seriously. He's been really serious over this past year about getting his body into shape. He's hired a professional nutritionist. His diet's been completely changed. I heard that so far for this fight, he really hasn't drank any liquor or anything like that. He's been keeping a really strict regimen to keep himself in real lean fighting shape. He says he feels like he's at a true 155. So I think it'll be really
Excuse me. Sorry.
interesting to see what Connor does in this fight, because he's talking about that he's in the best shape ever. He's really focused, and I think this really sets him up for a rematch versus Khabib. I think that's what Dana is pretty much alluding to,
I'm glad you
and
touched on Khabib, because here's the thing. I talk about this all the time from the standpoint of Khabib. I
Mhm.
don't want to take anything away from Khabib, but some of the things I hope he doesn't do. Number one is hold up the division. He said he's not going to do that.
No.
Number two is I really don't like that he's going out there. I just saw a video from him say that Tony, as long as he's in the UFC, that Tony's going to always be interim champ and Connor's always going to be number two. Again, definitely more power to him. The man's 29-0. Let's just remind ourselves, all of that was not at the UFC. You never fought Tony in his prime, and so let's just calm it down here, right? You got Connor coming back to fight another guy like Poirier, who has elevated his game since he last fought him. Not de-elevated, elevated his game, and he's coming back for a non-title fight just because That's how much love for the game he has. So for me, I'm almost just to channel Stephen A. Right? I know this is crazy to say with the whole Kyrie situation, but just retire already. If you're gonna go
No,
out there and you're not gonna come out
no.
here and fight, no, I'm talking about
First of all,
Khabib. I'm just
yeah, I
talking
know.
about
But
Khabib.
first of
No,
all,
I'm just talking. I'm
let,
not
let's
saying Kyrie. I
no, no.
understand
I
Kyrie's
know
got a
you're
lot of
saying
things going
Khabib, and
on.
I'm saying no. And here's what I got to put with this. First
But
of all,
before you, let me just finish my point. Let me just finish my point before you go, all max on me and interrupt Stephen A. the Great. Um, just understand what I'm saying is Khabib said, he himself said, I'm no longer wanting to fight. The only fight I want is GSP. I don't want to fight anybody else. I'm fighting for a legacy. I'm not fighting for anything else. Then don't hold up the division. Go out there and retire. Go out there, create mobile cell phone companies in whatever parts of the world you want to. More
see, I,
power
I,
to you.
I don't think that's fair. When was the last time that Khabib fought? Khabib fought closer than Connor did. Khabib's
No, he
last fight.
didn't.
Yeah, Connor
Wait,
did
wait.
Connor fought in January. Khabib has fought after Connor fought. So Khabib's already been in that ring. And what Khabib is saying, give me something to come back for because all
No,
y'all
he
got,
just said that. No, you
Connor
got to
can't
realize
beat
he
him.
just
Connor can't
no.
beat him. Let's get one thing straight. Connor can't beat him. And Connor needs to do something in order to step up and make Khabib say, you know what? Yeah, I will fight you, Connor, because you're a little chicken right now. You out here, you're trying to get fights with a whole bunch of lower people. That's why Dana
Who?
was saying
Who?
uh on Twitter, Connor was trying to get fights with guys that weren't in the class, and that's why Dana wasn't having it. And
Diego
that's
Sanchez. All
how we
he
got
said
to
that
the
about
Dustin
Diego
fight, right?
Sanchez. And
The Dustin fight was going to be a charity fight because he just wanted to get some sort of fight action in, and then Dana said, "Fine, I'll make this happen." So Connor's coming back, and Connor needs to prove himself as being a guy that can compete with Khabib and
listen,
give
listen,
Khabib
listen.
a reason to go to
Let's
30 with him.
let's
Because
cut
guess
the
what?
tone.
Khabib
Let,
is the number. Hold on, you spoke. Let me finish.
all
Khabib
right.
is the number one pound for pound fighter in the UFC right now. That is not that is the way it is ranked right now. And Conor McGregor, if he wants to be known as that GOAT type player that he wants, he has to beat Khabib again. And that's why you see Conor being so respectful right now and being and keeping it simple and not really talking shit like he did in the last Khabib fight and any of that stuff because he wants to make sure that he can make that Khabib fight happen next because that's the only place Conor can go from here. There is no other fight you can make for Conor that's going to be a bigger draw right now than a rematch with him versus Khabib for the shot for Khabib to go for 30-0 and a shot for Conor to get his revenge. And Conor called out Khabib during his interview with Ariel, and that's the only Conor needs to take care of business with Dustin in this match. First round, he can't let this go past the first round. He needs to show up and show out, Conor. And then he might get a shot to go beat the Eagle, which he probably won't because we know that the ground game and the wrestling game of Khabib is just too much for Conor, like he showed in the first fight. And then we can end it with okay, Khabib is 30-0. Will he get GSP? He's the best in that division. He is the pound for pound champion. And guys like John Jones got to respect it. And I'll let you go with that.
I knew, I was waiting for somewhat of a John Jones drop at some point, but I'm just gonna, try to stay focused on the task without really taking this into a crazy debate and focus on what the challenge ahead of us here is. And we're talking Dustin and Connor. Listen, my thoughts are Connor showed, with Cowboy that obviously the skill set has not dropped.
Nope.
If anything, they've improved. Now, again, Connor has really not necessarily always had his game. His head has never always been in the game because the guy has just always looked ahead of everything, and he's honestly shut people down when he's been counted out. So the guy's a great fighter. I don't respect any fighter that goes out there and holds up divisions. I didn't
How
like
is
when
he holding up
GSP.
the division?
Wait, hold on, let me finish. GSP came out here and fought Michael Bisping. It was a money fight. Dana White really didn't like that he won the title and then again retired. It sounded like they had some sort of an agreement where he would at least defend the title. Maybe once or twice. Doesn't sound like he didn't do that. Obviously, same thing here with Khabib. He said, hey, he can fight GSP. He can fight him. It just he needs to relinquish the title because it's not going to be for the title. I'm not going to put the strap on GSP because he's just fighting for legacy. He's not fighting for any sort of, and I'm not ever going to do that again. And same thing with Khabib. If you guys are fighting for legacy, go have your money fight. Go have your legacy fight. Fans want to see it. Let's see. These two
Here's,
big
There's been
You know, guys.
but
So forget about the
going
Connor
for the
fight.
title right
Don't
now.
even put your
Conor doesn't deserve a title shot right now. You can't tell me that right now, fresh off of Khabib
Connor is
last
one of
win,
the
you can
Connor is
say
one of the
Conor
elites
deserves
in
a title
MMA.
shot.
If you hear what Dustin, again, one of the champions of the sport, everybody will say what is factual, and we're not talking fake news here. The reality is that Connor is a top tier elite fighter because he has losses
But he
against
didn't
guys
beat
like
Khabib.
Nate.
He did
What?
not beat Khabib.
What
He
does that mean?
so
What
that
does that mean? So
Khabib has his
greats
title.
have
And guess
losses, you
what?
know.
Conor got to fight again before he could try to even take that title because
That's
Khabib
not.
had fought, Khabib fought after Conor because Khabib fought in like Conor fought in January and then
You're
Khabib
talking
fought
illogical. Now you're just talking off the
how?
cuff because you're
Khabib
saying
fought
things that
last.
don't.
Khabib
You're
fought
saying
last
things
and
that
Conor
okay,
didn't
but
fight for the title.
Dana's already said that this is what's going to happen. I mean, it really this is not a matter of debate. He's not going to put out Connor to fight any. Connor himself. Another thing I like that Connor said was, you know, obviously with the last fight with Max Holloway, I mean, he proved again one of the elites of the class. He drove past him on a skateboard while he was being interviewed, and he's like, "Is that Max Holloway?" And you could just see the excitement in his face about, like, you know, awesome guy. I definitely want to run it back with Max. Mad respect to that guy. Though, you know, I heard Khabib say that Max could be one of the greats. He's not even 30. I think he's 28, Max. That he's going to be probably the greatest MMA fight. Here's my only beef with Khabib is I am happy that he's had a great career in the sport. He's a great fighter. He is. He really is. Do I think he's the GOAT? No, I don't think he's the GOAT. My favorite fighter, John Jones, to me is the GOAT. And a lot of people have, you know, we just recently had that debate on Twitter. Everybody was talking about that. I think John Jones is the GOAT. That's just me. Khabib, second. Maybe he needs to defend the title for me to overtake that maybe 3, 4 more times. I like that Connor's just wanting to fight. That fighter mentality is what I love about
Oh
Connor.
yeah,
And
but
and
I
and the
mean,
wanting to fight the guys and saying, how can you go out here and say as a champion that you don't want to go out there? Max, every time when he was a champion, he's like, you know, one of his funny quotes about a lot of cupcakes, a lot of flavors. I just want to pick them off each one. Bro, champions defend their title against the top of the class and the top of the division. Go
but
out there and take
this
out
is
hold
completely
up, go out there and take out number ones, bro.
But this is completely different for Khabib because it's because of a death in his family where his father died and he didn't have that coach. That's why he's having this slight change of heart. And at the
No,
end of the day, yes, he
no,
doesn't.
he said his mom told him not to fight anymore. And
It,
he's always, you know, he's always, I feel like in his belief, in the way that he is, not religiously, I mean in his within him, just he's always felt like, oh, I beat him, so I'm always gonna be better than him. I mean, look at Volkanovski. Volkanovski won his fight against Max, went out and rematched him right on his second fight. And although that he's like, hey, I won that second fight, people are already talking third. So you talk about, listen, Volkanovski, as much as I think he lost those fights, you got to give it to the man if he ends up winning a third fight against Max, because then those are champions. People defend this. If you're if you're a fighter, you go out there and you defend your title. You can say whatever you want about Money May. Money May went out there and got his 40, and he went out there and got his 50. All those fights that he got were based off of guys that he was fighting, defending his strap. So just don't give me this Khabib nonsense. He's only defended the strap 2 to 3 times. That's not elite class. Is he elite class? Yes. Elite class champions don't just
but
go
again,
out there.
and again, I don't want to make this a Khabib fight because we want to be talking about Conor and Dustin. But I'll just end it with this.
Fans to know, UFC fans who watch this will know, and they'll be interested in that because they know what we're talking about, and
True,
that
true,
is truly what's going to be followed
true.
up after this whole pay-per-view. That's the storyline. People know what's
True,
going on. So,
absolutely, but we don't want to look past the headline, as they say on this one, and I think then to bring it back to that because I still want to say, you know, Khabib had a situation where his mom is like basically telling him retire, and it's a little bit of a different situation because I think if that doesn't happen, he's probably still in there competing and doing all that. So you know, family situations and dealing with moms can
Daddy
be a
don't want
tricky
to fight.
situation, and we'll just leave it at that and move on to what does Dustin have to do in order to beat Connor? Because we're already looking past Dustin, saying that he has absolutely no shot. In
I
your
didn't say
mind,
that. I didn't say
Dustin
that.
didn't show up because he
I,
literally can't do anything to beat Connor.
no,
Or
I
is there
never said
something that
that.
he can do in order to beat Connor?
I
What
think
does he have to beat
he's got
Connor?
to slow the fight down. I think his camp has already been talking about this. You know,
Mhm,
Connor mentioned it on the press conference.
mhm,
His camp is talking about how his endurance is not there, and everybody talks about Connor's endurance and about how he can't let go the longevity. So everybody knows the strategic game plan that Dustin's coming in with. He's not going to knock out Connor, although he said, "Hey, I can knock out Connor." Let's
right,
be real here. The reality and the chances of Dustin going in there and knocking him out
right,
are very low. Connor's a smart IQ fighter that he's not just going to put his chin out there to get knocked. So for me, I think that Dustin's got to slow down the fight, possibly take it to the ground, and just really outmaneuver him, even if it is in the stand-up game. Just outmaneuver him in
What chance?
combination.
What chance do you really give Dustin to win? Like a 1 out of 3, one out of
Listen, man,
four?
I don't count out Dustin from some sort of split decision. I don't count him out on some sort of submission. I do count him out on a knockout. I don't think a knockout is going to happen. Chance wise, if you're just looking for a just crazy percentage, throw a number out there. I think that this fight is 70-30 Connor. Connor looked explosive the last time he was out there, and he looks just laser focused and excited to be back. I'm scared of that Connor. That's the Connor that is great.
So you're
So,
saying it's a 70-30 shot. So he has about a 30% shot to win Dustin.
mhm.
So you'd say he's a mega underdog. Now the question is, what do you think the odds are that Dustin loses in the first round? Probably same thing, 70-30.
I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, the thing is that it's tough to say because, like you said, we haven't seen Connor enough, right? So, Connor likes to put guys out real quick. So, for me, I'm gonna say that there's a high possibility that it ends in the first. I think Connor's gonna, although he's wanting to talk about he wants more rounds and later rounds.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to be in there longer. You don't want to leave it in the hands of the judges. You don't want to leave it in some sort of move where you get taken down and then pull this Kahbib type fight, slow fights. Just not for
Well,
me, not
I,
for
I
any
think
fighter.
I think what he was saying though is he relishes that opportunity to put some rounds in the ring because he hasn't been fighting for a while. So
Mhm.
get some high quality,
He wants
rounds
rounds.
in. He
He
wants
said, "I
some high
want
quality
rounds."
rounds.
And
He wants someone to push him.
he hates when people talk about his game and having holes in his game that he feels he doesn't have. So when
I mean, we know
his
stamina
camp,
is
Justin's camp
something that
was out there talking about that, and he's like, "Listen, you want to go to the fifth round? We can go to the fifth round. I can still knock you out in that round." So
yeah,
that's
I mean,
just
like they say, the book on Connor is to try to outlast him because as you saw with guys like Nate Diaz, Nate Diaz was able to get to those final rounds and really just
I
wear out
guess,
Connor.
yeah. I mean, that's ultimately the reality of what's
That's
the
the
book.
blueprint you would think that Dustin has to have in order to win this fight is to fight like a warrior like Diaz, who, whether it's Connor's early first round storm, lets Connor put all his energy into that. And then by the third, fourth, fifth round, he finishes him off. But I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup to see if Dustin can actually survive. I think almost everyone has Connor definitely winning this one. So, a lot of people probably be rooting for the underdog here just because no one likes to see dominance like that. Everyone has a rooting interest against someone like Michael Jordan haters, like LeBron James haters, like Floyd Mayweather haters. People love to root against the guy. And I
That's
think
true.
Connor's that guy. On the last thing before we touch and head out of here, we have Dan Hooker coming up versus Michael Chandler
Yeah.
in his first UFC appearance. What are you looking at in that fight, and who do you think pulls that one out?
Listen, I've seen some of Michael Chandler's fights, and the dude is explosive. Dan Hooker even said it, right? I mean, he's gonna come out strong. He's gonna come out fast. He's really gonna come out to try and get that victory real quick. Um, you know, we always talk about levels. People use it as an analogy all the time. He even says, right? He even says, Michael Chandler, I wanted to come to the UFC because I know that the great fighters are here, and I want to. But then what I really don't want to happen is, the Ben Askren effect, where you just throwing this man into competition to top tier guys and just fight for the strap right after. I think Michael Chandler needs to get 2 to 3 wins underneath him before we give him a title shot. The fact that he's going out there Tyson
Well,
uh
I think it also
Tyron,
depends on the kind of not like if he has an electric knockdown, and then you're telling me that Khabib's not coming back, then I think logically it sets him up to face the winner of Dustin versus Conor if Khabib is not going to come back into the ring.
where do you
Who
put
who would
Gaethje? Where do you put Tony? Where do you put these guys? No, no,
Gaethje?
no, 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 no. See,
How can
here's the thing.
Gaethje go after he just got rocked by Khabib? I mean, does Gaethje
Khabib is the champion. Khabib is and
so
Gaethje was
Gaethje gets
in
the next shot
champion.
versus Conor? You think that would be the next fight, Gaethje versus Conor?
What?
If Conor wins and Khabib doesn't come
No,
back,
Connor has been number one in the division, even though he's been away, right? So I think if he wins decisively, then you give Connor the title shot, especially if he wants to
so
fight.
who would he fight for the title? It would be Justin Gaethje.
It would be Gaethje. It would be Gaethje or Tony. I mean, you got to give one of those. If you already
So
beat Poirier,
where's Tony ranked? Because I know Connor's for
Tony's ranked probably fourth, third, probably third. So
third.
we'd have to look at the rankings, but Tony's got to be still third. Or oh well, actually no, because he lost to most recently. He just lost to gosh, I'm drawing a blank on him, but the Brazilian fighter. That's not saying much. There's a lot of them. But no, point is that guy and
Well, you figure
Tony.
Connor's going to face one of the two guys. It'll probably be Connor versus Justin then after this.
Well,
Khabib doesn't fight.
Well, listen, I think that Connor's going to get a title shot right after this. That's just what's going to happen. Michael Chandler, well, if we were talking and sticking to this fight, I like Dan Hooker to win this fight because I think that the hype train around Michael Chandler, prove it to me. To me, you've been in the NCAA's, kid, and you just got drafted. And yes, you got drafted number one, but just like in the NFL, yeah, we sit you on the bench till you're ready to play. You're gonna sit and watch my main quarterback, and then you're gonna get the playing time. So unless you come out here and you show me that you can win games, my man is not gonna just straight up go to any of my top anything lists. And I don't think he deserves a title shot either. Go out there, win 2-3 fights against top class NBA, MLB, professional top guys. And I don't mean to knock Bellator. Bellator, you cool, but a lot of you guys seem to be second grade when it comes down to who you guys are picking up and developing. I'm just saying, you got MVP out there. I see you. You got the Limas out there, but you don't got too many of those guys. When you sign in Romero because he's 40 years old and we dropping him at UFC, I really have a problem with you going out and signing Michael Chandler, giving him one fight, and then putting him in the top of the division. That's just my thought. The
But
guy
I
is
mean,
elite.
would they put him in the top of the division?
That's a top. You're fighting Hooker. Hooker's a top guy.
Well,
Just
Hooker's
he
the
fights
second
for
tier
war.
guy.
What?
The
What was
you
that?
have number one right now is Khabib.
Yeah, Hooker's
And
in the top
then
eight. Hooker's in the top eight.
but that's
Top
set,
four.
but he's not championship level right now. Championship
Bro,
level.
you have no idea.
Well,
If
you're
you're
talking
saying that
about
Hooker
Khabib.
Hooker is
Hold on.
what was
You're talking
one
about
fight away
Khabib.
from.
You're talking about Conor. You're talking about Justin. Is Hooker over Justin right now?
Is Hooker over who?
Justin Gaethje. Is Hooker over Justin Gaethje right
He's
now?
not over
Hooker
Justin
over
because he
Conor,
hasn't fought. He hasn't fought him.
but he's not in the top three.
I'll tell you exactly his ranking right now because honestly, the fact that you're going to say something like that, it
If
just
Hooker wins, does Hooker get a title fight versus Conor in the next one? No, I think Justin has to go next. Dan Hooker's not going to jump Justin if Khabib is out. And if
Dan
Khabib is back, then Khabib gets the title fight. So either way, Hooker is third in line for the
and
title.
Oliveira's who Tony just lost to, and Oliveira is no joke, and Connor mentioned them too about
Yep.
from that fight. So
And I'm not knocking Hooker saying like he's a bad fighter, but he's not in the top three right now. He doesn't get a title shot next.
bro, he was one fight away from the title shot. So again, you're talking about a
But he
fighter
doesn't
that
go to the next title.
has been in wars and has won dominant fights. Hooker is 6. He's ranked 6. He's right under Ferguson. He's right under Ferguson. He's right under Oliveira. He's right under Gaethje. He's right under Poirier. Like you can't come out here and say
title fight next is my point.
well, how could he get a title shot next? The reason why he wouldn't get one is because unless because they do this sometimes. If Hooker goes out there and has a dominant performance, and you got Dustin that wins against Conor, then you put Hooker possibly in there against Gaethje for the number one contender. It just depends. The division can go in so many ways here. But you can't. They didn't put Hooker in with Michael Chandler because he's some scrub. They think
No,
Michael Chandler's world class. I don't think that he's world class till you prove it to me. That's what I'm saying.
right,
And
right.
Dan Hooker is a top fighter, so I don't think that Dan Hooker is some guy that you could
He's
just
about 2
smile
fights away from
about.
the belt. I mean, he's at least 2 fights from the belt. See, and then you would figure
Yes,
that Chandler's at least 2 to 3 fights away from the belt. So it's not like they're bringing Chandler in here and giving him belt shots. He's not going to get a belt
Chandler's.
shot.
See, did you hear Chandler's conversations? Chandler was the backup, right? To what was the last fight? The Tony fight,
Mhm.
the Oliveira and Tony fight. He was the backup, and then Chandler's talking. If he wins this fight, he should get a title shot. No, slow your horses. Get another win. Maybe beat Gaethje. And Gaethje would not lose to Michael Chandler. I'm sorry, he would not. So that's why I'm saying these guys. This division is stacked. So for you
That's
to go
what
out
Connor
and
was
say,
saying.
"Oh, what?"
That's what Connor was saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that you can't just go out there and say Hooker can't get a title shot. You got to tell me what happens before you say that. Because from my standpoint, I think that he definitely deserves to be in the top conversation after maybe a win over Michael Chandler, maybe one more,
Yep.
maybe one
That's
more.
why I agree. That's why I agree.
So that's why I don't want Khabib holding up the division. Get Khabib to retire and let these guys go out there and fight for something that they've always wanted, a championship. Jones, one thing about Jones, man, the dude fought every time, defended his strap. Who's number one? Take him out. Who's number one? Take him out.
I
No
think
questions asked.
after this fight,
Cormier, 3 fight. I mean, come on, bro.
after this fight that you have with Connor and Dustin, I think that's when you can start talking about Khabib holding up the division, because that would be his next opponent. At that point, then I can say, okay, if he doesn't take the winner of that, then you can say, yes, he's holding up the division. But he took care of business. Now he took down Justin Gaethje, who's the number one contender. So there is no other contender that's below Justin.
You're failing to realize that he's only defended the title 3 times, bro.
Okay, but he fought.
And
He just fought Justin
it
Gaethje.
doesn't matter that he just fought. He's the
Connor has
champion. The
fought that.
champions fight. What are you talking
Okay,
about? He went
Connor's
through
still
his.
got a.
He
But
went through.
this
He should
fight
have
has
already fought. He
happened.
should have already fought. The fighters,
No,
all the other
shut
fighters
up.
have been fighting.
No, he
What are you
should. He
talking?
wasn't gonna
Okay,
fight.
so
Who
if
was
his
gonna
dad.
fight?
Oh my god.
Who is? Oh, wait.
So wait. Just because. So hold up. So hold up. What you're telling me is this is why people like you really frustrate me, because. What do you mean? Who is he supposed to fight? When you're the champion, you don't just get the belt, and it's not a trophy that you put on a
No,
wall that you get to look at
but
and
it's only
smile at.
been.
It
How long
doesn't.
has it been since his fight? A couple of
He,
months?
I've, a couple. It's been quite some time, man. His
No,
dad passed away, and then
he fought over the summer.
no, no. How long do you think the summer's been? That's 7
There's
months.
been no other fights in that division that would
What are
come
you
up
talking
first.
about, bro? The only reason he hasn't fought is because he said he was gonna retire and he doesn't want to fight. And his mom, it's not about who he does. He doesn't just want to
He
fight
said that.
anybody. The,
So,
bro, you're out of your mind. If let me tell you something. If
okay,
you think it's okay for a champion to sit on a title for 7 to 8 to 9 months, then
he wasn't sitting on it
just
for 9 months, though.
what?
He wasn't sitting on it for 9 months. Who the next contender for
What planet am I in? What are you
bro,
talking about? He's not sitting on it for 9 months. He
bro?
hasn't fought because he didn't want to fight. What are you? Have you missed headlines? Hasn't wanted to
Which
fight
UFC?
because his dad's passing. Understandable. Take your time off. My point is, if you're not
It
going
was
to fight within the
UFC.
next two to
It was UFC 254 that he won his championship with UFC 257. So it's been 3 UFC. So 3 bouts have come out, and you're telling this guy he has to retire? No, Conor
He's
McGregor.
said that he wants to retire.
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
telling him.
yes.
He's said that he's wanted to retire, that he doesn't want to fight anymore.
Right.
Get out of the
He's
game
not
and let
holding
other
up
people
his
fight.
belt. You have to
Uh,
let this fight happen. You have to let the Dustin and
okay, why did that happen, Taco? Why did you tweet?
after
You
that,
sent me a tweet. You sent me a tweet. You sent me a tweet. You sent me a tweet. And the tweet was what? Dana White going into a room with Khabib. Why did
right,
that happen?
right,
Tell me why that happened.
because they want to get him for the winner of this fight.
And what did
Which
Connor
makes
say?
sense.
We'll get him. We'll get him, Dana. Don't you worry.
Yes,
Right? Why did he
yes.
say that? That means that they've been trying to get him to come back and actually take a fight. The guy doesn't want to fight. That's fine. Nobody's forcing your hand. Don't fight if you don't want to. My point is,
Bro,
real
yes, they
champions
are forcing his hand. They need him to fight. Connor needs that fight for his legacy. Don't give me that. Connor needs that fight. Okay,
No,
Connor
Connor's
wants
made
that
his
fight.
legacy. Conor's the first two division weight class champion. Conor's made his legacy. He doesn't go out there and dodge
Well,
fights.
hold on.
He fights the greats.
October
And he
24th.
listen.
October 24th is when Khabib fought. November, December, January. It's been 3 months since Khabib has fought. Don't tell me about him not fighting. Conor has not fought for 1 full year. So there's no way Conor should be coming back to a title fight. There's no way that
My
Khabib
point is
it's been 3 months. He's not holding up any title fight. Conor needs to do his thing, and then if he rejects the Conor fight, then you could say he could have his belt removed. Then he's holding it up. Conor handle business now. After this, then you
strip
can
Khabib. Strip Khabib. Just wait. Stop
months.
wasting everybody's time.
3 months.
Stop wasting everybody's time. People want to see the title be defended. Nobody wants to see people just sit on titles.
He's
I want to see
on the title. He's waiting for the competitor.
No,
and if he retires at that point, the title will be given up, right?
So you know, this favoritism of people being stripped just for no reason. Yeah, it is because no, he said he doesn't want to fight anymore. What aren't you getting about this? If you don't want to fight, just get rid of you. You're not the champ anymore. Then
why?
Listen,
get Dana White get rid of his champ when he wants to get him to come back and he thinks that he's dealing on emotion.
I'm just saying if he doesn't take, let's be clear. I'm just saying if he doesn't take the fight after the winner of this fight, you strip him. It needs to happen. Just move on. We need to see a champion here.
I think you're prematurely stripping him though. Let's let this fight happen first, and let's let him deny
what's going to happen.
Tiger's rematch.
It's what's going to happen.
Him deny that, and then
mark my words. This is my prediction. My prediction is Conor wins. They either create a championship fight for his next fight, and Khabib possibly comes back to fight GSP, non-title fight, and there it is. Khabib doesn't want that. He don't want that smoke with none of the guys in the division right now, and that's what it is. He doesn't want to fight anymore. Go retire, bro. Listen, you had your moment of glory with your 3 title defenses. I'm happy for you. Just don't call yourself the GOAT around me. I'm gonna just give you pound and say you were close to being the GOAT. And unless you beat GSP, then you can be considered the GOAT.
He's the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the UFC right now.
Yeah, that's because Dana knew what he was doing. Let's just know. Everybody out there know what I'm talking about. Dana knew what he was doing. It's called marketing strategy, bro. It's just like, why not just put Wei Ling as the number 1 pound for pound fighter
of the year? The submission.
Just saying, I mean, you want market share.
Who had the submission of the year? Khabib.
Okay, bro. Okay.
Submission of the year.
I'm gonna say that we'll be here for days. So listen, let's give the fans what they want to hear. This was a debate about what the up and coming pay-per-view, first pay-per-view of the year. We appreciate you guys definitely coming out and checking us out for that. These debates get real. We're gonna go live next time for you, and then make that happen. Hopefully, we get some questions and let us know who you like.
And don't forget to give us a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you stay tuned because we have a lot of these hotly debated topics coming up. As we all know here, Dave doesn't have faith in the Khabib to come back to defend the title. I'm saying let's wait to see what happens before we take the man's crown. He only fought in October. I think it's going to be great. I think seeing what Michael Chandler does is going to be really interesting because Dave doesn't really like him talking that much, and it's interesting. I love these guys that can talk and back it up. So it'd be nice to have a guy like that come back and face a guy like to see him face a guy like Conor could be really interesting because I think the smack talk could be really fun. I personally love that smack talk that they do before these fights. So I think to me as a fan, I think that's a great way to draw people in. But Conor seems like he's ready to play this year, and he's not ducking anyone. He wants to do exactly like you said. He wants to build up his legacy. He wants
real champions.
He wants this stuff
like he's always done.
Absolutely,
the proper way. The proper way.
Absolutely. He already mentioned Nate Diaz. He mentioned Chandler. He mentioned Hooker. He mentioned Justin. So there's a whole bunch of guys lined up at 155 for him to take on. So I think this division probably will be the number 1 division that people are watching. I think this upcoming year. I think that it's going to be really fun to see what the UFC and Conor McGregor have in store for us. And that all starts this Saturday in Abu Dhabi, or it's going to be Sunday for them in Abu Dhabi. I'll end it with what Conor said he's going to eat after his victory. He's going to get some large American pancakes. So,
and he said he's got enough proper 12 for the rest of the crew. He's not going to drink it by himself. So.
He's going to have some fun. I think everyone loves to see him having fun, and that's good for the sport. and good for us because we love to talk Conor McGregor and all things UFC. So, guys, I want to appreciate you guys for stopping by, and we'll have a little recap here so we can, see what's the I told you so's. And like you see, we like to be talking about the future of this division because there's so many storylines, so many ways it can go. And on that note, have a wonderful day, evening, or whenever you're seeing this. Just enjoy and peace.